Welcome back to the A1 ring. David Coulthard has kept up his charge to become champion of the world with a brilliant victory here in Austria. Let's just confirm the top 6 for you. David Coulthard, 10 points for him. Michael Schumacher just nipping past Rubens Barrichello in the last 30 metres or so. Second and third, the Ferraris. Kimi Räikkönen, rookie of the year beyond any doubt, scoring more points for Sauber. Olivier Panis registering 2 more for the British-American racing team. And Jos Verstappen, the Dutchman, making his point for the Arrows. And this is how the championship looks after 6 rounds. Just 4 points separate Michael Schumacher from David Coulthard, so consistent all season. Rubens Barrichello in third place, Ralf Schumacher fourth, then Heidfeld and Jarno Trulli. Absolutely delighted to Alexander Wurz, native Austrian, McLaren test driver, is joining us. You must be very, very pleased the way things have gone for your team today.
Oh yes, it was a fabulous race win. I must say, even in Barcelona already we had a really good strategy, but also today it worked brilliant for David. The team did a great job, and I really want to congratulate all the team, but especially also the people back in Woking, because they are preparing the base for us, and we are scoring wins. That's great.
We're going to look back at some of the key moments of this race in a few minutes' time, but let's get straight to the press conference. It's going to be really interesting to hear from the top 3 drivers. Here they go.
Thank you, Rubens. Dave.
Here we are, McLaren team boss Ron Dennis is now waiting to have a word with us. Good afternoon, Ron, and many congratulations on David's success today. You must be pleased with that on I know what is a very bitter, sweet weekend for you all down there.
I can hear nothing.
Oh, Ron, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now, Ron? Is Jim Rosenthal in the studio?
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, we've got 1 or 2 problems getting through to Ron Dennis. I'm sure we'll sort that out very shortly for you. At the start of this race, I'm sure Ron Dennis won't be too happy to see it again, because Mika Häkkinen, one of 4 drivers left stranded.
I mean, you look at it from the aerial view there, massive blockade, because at 5th place, truly towards the front of the grid. Then you had Heidfeld, then you had Häkkinen behind him. Look at it from the rear view as well. Everybody did brilliantly to avoid those massive concrete chicanes just sitting there like that. And it just goes to show, you know, the gizmos not working, the frailties we've been talking about in the electronic systems left people just sitting there. And Michael's just revealed that he had to go for a normal start. He couldn't use his launch control.
How much harder is it, Alex, for you to start the car with launch control?
When it works, it's not hard at all, because you just take the finger off. But it's a bit hard for the driver's mind, because you have to rely 100% on the system. But we see, I mean, here the pictures are, everything went fine here, but it was quite close. As you say, everyone reacted quite quick, the marshals with the yellow flags. Here you see it works brilliant on Ralph's car, on the Williams. Both Williams go away. But it's not easy, and as Michael said, needs a lot of time to work on this system.
Sure, we've re-established contact with your boss, Ron Dennis, down there. Ron, welcome to the show. I know it's a very bitter, sweet weekend for you, this.
Weekend of mixed emotions, really, and obviously there's nothing that you can really say when you lose an important member of the team, but more than his membership of the team is his friendship. You know, we're a very close-knit team. People think we're grey, but in reality we're a very human organisation that really cares a lot about all of the people that contribute. And of course Paul Morgan was a leading member, one of the 2 people who run and function Ilmore, and he's going to be badly missed.
David Coulthard has already paid tribute to him in the press conference. Of course, all our sympathies go to Paul Morgan's family and friends. But to move to the race, Ron, which I would like to talk to you about, we're talking to Alexander Wurz here about the start and about what happened to Mika Häkkinen there. What are your views on that?
Well, I think you managed to get me into trouble last time, actually. But so I'm not going to jump into saying what we think it is at the moment. We don't have absolute certainty as to the cause. But clearly it was associated with the launch control system, and we're not absolutely certain whether it was the system or the driver at the moment. But one thing we will do is we'll let everybody know as and when we know, and that requires a very careful study of the data.
Okay, I won't pick your brain any further on that one then. But what about the way David Coulthard drove to victory here for your team? I mean, terrific concentration on, particularly in those last dozen laps or so.
Indeed, we obviously had a pretty poor grid position, and that meant we had to really go as long as possible. When we were stuck in the traffic, we conserved some very valuable fuel that allowed us to push very hard in the 3 or 4 laps that separated Ruben's pit stop from David's. Enabled obviously him to take the lead, and then he really did a great job at pacing himself to stay in the lead. Of course, it's actually the most difficult place to be in a race, is in the lead. It's the area where you can definitely make mistakes, but it was a faultless drive.
He always looks very comfy when he's out there in front. And Mika Hakkinen, when we spoke to him about his World Championship chances, said very honestly, it doesn't look too good, does it? Are you getting to the stage where you're going to put all your eggs into the David Coulthard basket?
No, because we're in the business of winning races, and we're very fair with the guys. We've always made it quite clear that we come to Grand Prix, we try to win, and it's only when it's mathematically impossible or realistic evaluation of the numbers tell you that it's unlikely, and in that situation we step in, because we're here to win races and the World Championship, but it's a little early. And of course the circumstances that we have in our team is we can in fact give team instructions at any stage, even the first Grand Prix, but that takes away the spirit of the driver's commitment. They want to win, and it's not right for us to intercede in that process unless the circumstances require it, and we're just not in that area yet.
But you would agree there's a realistic chance of David Coulthard becoming a British world champion this season?
Oh, of course. I mean, right. He's there and he's well in position, but more importantly, it's his attitude, his frame of mind, and his determination at the moment. He's matured over the last few months, and he's a lot better for many things that have happened in his life. He's really very, very committed to winning, and as is, of course, Mika, but right now, obviously, the points are with David, and he knows that, as always, we're giving the best equipment we can, and we'll just have to see the result.
I've got just one final point for you, Ron. If you had been making the call coming round that last bend, would you have ordered Rubens Barrichello to pull over and let Michael Schumacher through?
Well, most definitely not in the period of the year in which we're at, and but I think their faces said it all. They weren't two particularly happy chappies on the podium, so there was definitely some disagreement there, and one can only presume the reason why.
We appreciate you joining us as always, Ron. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, there we are. We've got a lot to talk about with Alex and with Tony. We got our competition and a bit of Ross Kemp with Jordan as well. We will be right back. Beautiful evening still in the Styrian Mountains in southern Austria. David Coulthard has scored a very big victory here for McLaren. Tony Jardine, it looked as though Ralf Schumacher was going to be in with a great shout after his terrific start, but unfortunately the Williams gave out.
It did, unfortunately, but I think now he's moved on to the Austrian patch with Mr. Wirtz and co. The air must be getting to him. I mean, he's driving superbly, but this is most unfortunate. I can't help feeling that a lot of the electronics, a lot of the pressure, a lot of the heat and the vibration is getting to the rear end of these cars as well. I know there's a lot of investigations underway by major manufacturers of what things. We saw Barrichello lose rear suspension, possibly through heat, we don't know. We won't know what's happened there yet, but it's a shame for him. Fantastic start when you saw that before, when he jinked past his brother. It's incredible reactions. Juan
Pablo Montoya had a real fight with the Ferraris, didn't he? Held the two Ferraris back, Barrichello and Schumacher, and it looked good for him for a while in that battle.
Yeah, it looked really good. He struggled with the grip. You can see he's sliding all over the place. And he took the inside line. You see them fighting now, three cars, very exciting next to each other. And down the straights he's obviously pretty quick and keeps them behind for a few laps. But then I think Michael went with very hard pressure, but the both did a race mistake and both went out of the race and lost it.
He's holding them back, but the tyres are giving out him a little bit, aren't they? And then when it happened, and when Michael Schumacher made his move, we heard Michael in the press conference. He's going to have a word with him, which means he's not chuffed by it. But Montoya doesn't mind about anything, does he?
No, he doesn't. This is a great thing. This is why Montoya is so exciting. Just look at this. You see, Michael's clearly got past. I'm not having that. And he really comes back off the brakes that little bit longer because he's a racer. That's all he can think about. That's what he's learned right from a little boy when he's karting. You look at it again here, and he's managed to hold them all up like Gilles Villeneuve did in 81 in Spain, keep them all behind, forcing Michael to go round the outside, and then just stopping him innocently there. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when they do have this chat.
Alex, I mean, you had a similar scrap, didn't you, with Michael Schumacher? I remember it in Monte Carlo a couple of years back. I mean, is that a problem when one of you takes him on? Does he come and claim you after? What are you doing?
After this race I had with him in Monaco, we both lost the race. I lost second position at the race, and he lost important points. But here, I would say it was a racing accident. If Michael doesn't agree what Montoya did, he should have just braked a bit earlier, because he said there was no way that he makes the corner. But I see there also was no way that Michael made the corner at this braking point. So I would just put it down as a racing accident and put it down to experience.
You join us here more often, by the way. That's excellent. Juan Pablo Montoya sadly followed teammate Ralf Schumacher out of the race prematurely.
Yeah, it's a great shame for him, and a great shame for Michelin, because Michelin have done a lot of work here with the development car last year, so they knew a lot about the track, and they've really stirred it up, as have BMW. BMW did a lot of work on the electronics of the car at Valencia. They've done a lot of more work on the aerodynamics, and this guy now, his best grid position since coming into Grand Prix racing, he's learning about qualifying as well. We know he's a great racer, but he's learning about qualifying too.
Do you find it strange that Michael Schumacher has never got to grips with this A1 ring? It's the only current circuit he's never won on.
Yeah, when you start to talk about it, then it's even harder to win. And maybe ask him all the time, so he won't win in the next year as well. But it comes as it comes, and I think today was a bit unlucky with his start. He told us that he had problems with the launch control, and you never know. But seeing here these pictures, he was racing absolutely on the limit. Seemed that his car didn't have the grip as, for example, David had through the race. So they are also on the limit.
It all came down to the limit in David Coulthard's pit stop, didn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to hear, because you can pick up a bit from Dave what he said in the conference. They're staying out that bit long in the fuel. They know they had to really, with a bigger fuel load, to stay out there. And tactically, they must be very pleased, McLaren, to have got one over this time. He came in with a lead of just about 25 seconds. I have to say the boys from Woking were absolutely superb in the pit stop, like clockwork. Look at this, no Ferraris in sight. Well, I wondered for a minute, he was almost going to clip the Armco on the inside of the exit of the pit lane, just out in front of Rubens Barrichello, and then soaked up all the pressure to claim his second win of the year. Super stuff from Coulthard and McLaren.
I don't think we've seen you in the position in Formula One that Rubens Barrichello was in, and let's hope we do down the years, because you've got a lot of time on your side, Alex, I know. But I just wonder if you can give us a driver's viewpoint of when you're there, you've got second place, and someone blows in your ear. It's a team sport. Stop and let your team guy by. Your teammate go by.
Well, I think when you saw Ruben's face, I don't need to say anything. Of course, it's I can say it now, it's very disappointing for you, because you worked the race very hard, and he just did it on the last 300, 400 meters to show the whole world that he was better than Michael today, but the team is completely focused on one guy, and that's Michael Schumacher, so he has to agree this, and I'm pretty sure he signed it in his contract knowing what he has to do.
That would be in black and white. He would have to do that, yeah?
Yes, I think so.
Ron Dennis said he'd never made that call.
I mean, I think Ron is very fair in that regard, and he won't, and he's shown it before. He's let David, when David's behind, he's let David go on until there is no more mathematical possibility in those years for him to win the championship. And then the team ask him to ride shotgun for the other, which he's done for Hakkinen in the past. And I'm sure Ron will ask Hakkinen to do the same thing when it comes up. But what Alex was saying before, what we've got to understand is that team is totally built around Michael Schumacher at every level. His every whim, his every need, his every desire. The number 2 is just a number 2. And as Irvine said, it takes Rubens a while to realise that. When it all sinks in, that's it. That's what you've got to play, second fiddle.
I think he said, didn't he, Eddie Irvine, at Grand Prix weekend, as Michael Schumacher's teammates, like being hit over the head with a cricket bat for 3 days. You wouldn't know about a cricket bat, but they're pretty hard and heavy, I can tell you.
Stupid English sport.
I don't understand.
Okay. Listen, let's have a word with Kimi Raikkonen, Rookie of the Year, a brilliant 4th place in his Sauber. Here he is with Louise.
Well done, your 6th race in Formula 1 and more points for you. It's going very well, isn't it?
Yeah, it was fun race earlier. I did a big mess in the pit stop. I don't know what happened. I thought that they lift the lollipop, and I don't know. But in the end, this doesn't make any difference.
So you were a bit disappointed then. Would you have liked more?
No, not really. I'm really happy. But of course, you always try to win, and if you don't win, you always have something to do still.
Other than that, was it a tough race for you, or did it come to you quite easily?
No, it was pretty easy. Like a physical side, it was not a problem at all. But only there was some moments in the race, but that's life. It was really nice race.
Alex, you were a young driver and things happened very quickly for you in your career, and then it plateaued out, it evened out a bit. Do you think that he's got a lot to learn still, Kimi Raikkonen?
Well, I mean, he's done a fantastic race, fantastic season so far. But what you have to see, and what I learned as well, and I think when you ask Jenson Button, it's the same for him. You go into the first year, there's no pressure, everything is easy, you can, with a good car, you can make good races. But the things are going more difficult, you get much more involved in political problems, into all the better gossip and so on, and this harms sometimes your career. And I wish all the best to Kimi that he's not getting into these troubles.
Let's ask you about yourself briefly. I mean, you're now learning the sport for real. Is that how you put your time at McLaren? You're really on a learning curve.
Well, you know, I was 3 years in Formula 1 with Benetton. I started very well, similar to Kimi, and then everything went a bit more difficult. And then I decided to go to McLaren, follow the footsteps of Oliver Panis, and I must really say I'm not regretting the decision at all. I'm really happy. I'm much closer to the actual heart and bit of Formula 1 I was looking for. I mean, at McLaren they really treat all the drivers the same. There's no number 1, number 2 or number 3 in my case. And I'm really happy down there, and of course my dream would be the race for them, and I'm working on this. But so far the best for me.
Okay, thanks Alex. Well, Alex talking about Jenson Button there. His race ended up in a bit of a barbecue. Here's Jenson, and it's with Louise again.
Jenson, it was barbecue time at Benetton today.
Yeah, it wasn't really the best day, was it? The race wasn't going too bad actually. We're on the pace of the Jaguars and also the Prost, so we were quite pleased with that. And running up to the pit stop, it was working quite well. And then afterwards, we had a few problems and couldn't really get on the pace again. Then after turn 4, I had a problem at the rear of the car, and that was the end of my race.
What was the problem? Do you know?
I don't know exactly. Obviously, they'll be finding out. The car isn't back yet, so. But no, it's pretty abrupt, and I'm not really sure what the problem was. But it's obviously something we've got to sort out pretty quickly.
Keep saying they're going to sort it out. When are they going to do it, Tony?
I don't know, it's not getting any better at the moment. They're all working absolutely flat out. And again, Alex knows how good the boys are, and they've still got spirit in that team, remarkably, because there's a lot of long stager guys who've stayed around there. But Jenson keeps finishing behind Fisichella all the time in the qualifying sessions, running behind him in the race. And I don't know whether it's getting to him or not. It doesn't seem to be, but Alex knows what he's going through, and it's a tough time.
Now, Alex, you do a lot of other things, don't you? You're mountain biking, and you've been climbing up in Everest or the Himalayas, and with Sherpa Tenzing's son. What's that all about?
Well, we went to the Himalayas. You see some nice pictures here. Straight in front of us, it was Mount Everest. And with Sherpa Tenzing, I went a bit of climbing, and in very high altitude, 13,000 feet. And it was a really nice experience for me, because as I'm a climber, I love the mountains, and then in Nepal, it's just the place you want to be.
Terrific. Listen, we appreciate you coming and joining us today. You come back again, won't you? Thanks very much indeed, Alex. Okay. Now then, Ross Kemper's taken on a touch of real-life drama. He's building towards a role with the Jordan pit crew at the Silverstone Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, in mid-July. Here in Austria, Ross Kemper's been learning the hard way behind the scenes. They have been working him hard too.
going? Pointers. Top, and go that way, yeah? This is how the other half live. Luxury. See, I'm not supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be working now, but in life I've learned if an opportunity presents itself.
You have a top here, isn't it?
If I breathe into this, do I get arrested? What's the reasoning behind this then?
Right, what it is, between these two trucks here, because usually we haven't got enough room.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're on different tracks, you're fighting against space all the time.
When we've got all the tyres mounted, we need somewhere to put them. So what we do is we put a tent between these two trucks. So we need an exact distance to work from.
Oh right, and that's what does it?
Tells you. So we want them around about 4 metres.
It's a ruler.
Now Ross, 4.03.
What do you need?
We're on around 4.
Not bad, is it? Please take the meters out. What about up here, Biscuit? All this stuff down this lathe, or whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll clean that off as well after.
After, yeah? Just do the fascia stuff.
Yeah.
Everything from loading the truck to unloading the truck is meticulous, exact. Everything is kept surgically clean. And it's all rather impressive, really. And this is the thing that most people don't see when they come on race day. They don't know the amount of work, and to the point of obsessiveness, how tidy and how clean and how exact everything is placed in the garage or on the truck. Everything's lined up. It's a precision sport in every way. I'm loving it.
Touch of the elbow grease then for Ross. We're going to be following all the way to that grid at Silverstone in July. Now, as promised, the result of our competition, combining the twin peaks of European football and Formula One. Remember, the prize is an absolute cracker. VIP trips to two great sporting events, the Monaco Grand Prix and before that the UEFA Champions League final at Milan San Siro Stadium, Bayern Munich against Valencia. Now, two Scots have won at Monaco before, Stewart and Coulthard, but we asked you which Englishman last won in Monte Carlo. Was it A, Johnny Herbert, B, Nigel Mansell, or C, Graham Hill? And the answer? Graham Hill, way back in 1969. Our winners, Mark Charlton from St Helens and Nicola Cunnington from Brighton. Well done, Mark. Well done, Nicola. Enjoy two fabulous occasions with ITV. Keep in touch with all the F1 news on our ITV website tonight. There we are then. Watch out for the highlights tonight. We'll be back in Monte Carlo in a couple of weeks' time. Well done, David Coulthard. Bye-bye from us all.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One,